Hi, my name is Mark and I teach economics. In this video, I want to answer the question, what is price? What is really price? Not the high school answer, supply and demand intersect, and it's a point how much you pay something for something. But what is it really? At the college level and beyond, what is the meaning of a price? And this answer might be relevant for a test or an exam, but it's certainly relevant for the exam of life. That is, for the rest of your life outside of class, you can look at price as something very different than you did before. And that's what I want to answer. So there's one salient takeaway from this. And if you listen to the video, somewhere in it, you'll find it. Well, first, we know, let's start from the basics. Price comes from an intersection between supply and demand. The suppliers are the producers, the demanders are the consumers. I'm certainly a consumer. I'm pretty much a hyper consumer. I'm wearing Hollister, I think it's American Eagle or something. And I like to spend money. Do I produce? Yeah, I produce some things. But I am a producer, I'm a consumer, and I'm always looking at the price from the perspective, can I afford this? Do I want it? So this idea of can I afford it, can I want it, is a very subjective thing across all people. People are going to value things differently and feel about different things in different ways. They have different utility and preferences. So that's the first thing you want to take away from what is price. Price is subjective. It's not determined by some absolute from above. And this is one of the reasons Marxist theory folds is because they believe in this objectivity of price. Well, price is something subjective. Everybody's going to have a different opinion on how much it costs. For example, these are some chess pieces. The wooden chess pieces made in Zakopane, Poland, and you can get them in the market. I personally would pay about $25 for these because I know how to get them relatively easily and inexpensively, and I like chess. Other people may not like chess and they may pay $1 for these, if anything. Maybe they'll display it in their homes because they don't know the Queen's Gambit declined and they just display chess pieces for aesthetic purposes. Other people might have collector values or see something unique about these chess pieces. And the result is they could be buying it and bidding $200 for these. So since we all have different preferences and we all subjectively look at price, how do we determine what the price should be? It's very interesting. The subjectivity is true and we have different desires for these objects. But at the end of the day, there's something called like a collective unconsciousness. It's almost like we're all of humanity is collected by some matrix-like neural network at the unconscious level. And we all begin to settle at a price that we all universally agree on. For some of us, the price will be too high. And for others, the price of these chess pieces, it's a king and a queen, will be too low. But there's an optimal point, an equilibrium point. We all universally decide that probably should be where the most people are going to make their purchases. And the producers are in on this too, the creators of this. They kind of intuitively know where this is. So what is price? What am I driving at? Price is an information point. So that's the second takeaway from this, and probably the most important. Price is subjective, and price, first and foremost, is an information point. It contains so much information. It contains all of society's, basically anybody who's viewing or considering this object, unconscious preferences, or even conscious. Let me give you another example. This is patchouli oil. A lot of hipsters and hippies use it. Kind of put it on before they go to yoga or not. And it's a pretty good oil for cleaning with. I like it. But within the price of this oil, let's say I bought it for $7 at Whole Foods or something. And within this price of $7 is contained a lot of information. For example, what if there's a blight of patchouli trees in Southeast Asia, wherever they grow this? I might never hear that news. I may know nothing about that blight or the conditions of the farmers, However, it's going to be reflected in the price almost instantaneously. Or similarly, if there's let's say a copper mine that collapses, I may not pull up Google News, but instantaneously, somehow through the transmission of this collective unconsciousness, this information is embedded in the new price. It's pretty amazing. And so I want you to understand that price is an information point. It's not just the intersection of supply and demand. When you draw the graph, that's economics 101. That doesn't tell me much. It is this information point and the understanding that price is subjective. It's not this objective value. Nothing is like should. Should is nothing with the price. So we've got this subjectivity, and price is an information point. Now I'm going to tell you a third thing. Price is an intertemporal information point. Intertemporal is just an economic term for throughout time. Let me take a step back and go back. How far back? Way back. Let's go back to St. Augustine, the town that I live in. How could I forget that? St. Augustine was a saint who fused Platonic philosophy with church theology. And he had a formulation that there was no such thing as the future or the past. There was only the present past, and the present future. It's our reference to these time periods through the present. And that's what price is. When you're making a decision, if I should purchase something, you make it with reference to all stretch of eternity, the measureless gulf of eternity, the past, present, and future. Let me give you a specific example. If I were to offer you the ability, let's say you want to buy a house, the ability to buy a house for $220,000 today, and it's a pretty good house. Let's say it's a 5-bedroom, 3.5 bath. Or you could wait 1 year and get that same house for $210,000. Depending on who you are in the market, you're going to make a decision based on a lot of things, such as expectations, future, past, risk. But basically, you're calculating future and present utility embedded into that price. And let's say you really want a house, so you're not going to wait a year and make the additional profit from the decrease in price. You're going to buy it today, right now. So that is an example of a consumer and how they're embedding time preferences and time, the future, into a price. What about from the producer side? Let's say I'm Robinson Crusoe type. I'm stranded on an island, or even better yet, I'm on Survivor. And I don't know if I could survive. I'm just winging this. But let's just say I know how to get coconuts or juice from coconut juice, and I have to climb trees and climb back down. And it's pretty laborious to do that just to get my sufficient liquids for the day. So let's say I haven't found flint and fire, and Jeff Provost is not going to give me this yet until I win some victories for my team. Or I can do something. I can delay gratification as a producer and a consumer, and I can construct like a ladder made of like some sort of hemp rope found on the island that I weave together, and it will make my obtaining these coconuts quicker and easier. However, to do that, it also has a cost. I decrease my production of coconuts for the tribe for the next 3 days, because it takes me so longer, to actually create this hemp rope to get coconuts. And 3 days is like the next tribal council. So I have to calculate all these things. And in doing so, as a producer, I'm also considering intertemporal decisions as a supplier. So again, going back to the point of this video, what is point? What is price? Price is an intertemporal, that means throughout time, information point. It not only considers basically the entire world and this collective unconsciousness now, but also maybe the future, because you're calculating both producers and consumers are calculating their utility on that. Here's one additional takeaway. What if the price is wrong? What if we're outside the market or the freedom of the market, and the government imposes something like rent controls? Well, obviously you've learned, or rent controls have a cost. They have a cost of consumer surplus, producer surplus, and there's this deadweight loss. And if it's represented in like emojis, you'd see less emoji smiley faces and more unhappy faces. And that's what happens when the price is dictated rather than the free consciousness of society gets to decide subjectively what they like and what they don't like. That's why this freedom is so great. There's a distortion of the price mechanism. But at the end of the day, where there's freedom of movement, free movement of labor, capital, choice, decisions, this productive and allocative efficiency is always the best when the price is free to move up and down. So a couple of things taking away, price is not just something you draw on a supply and demand curve, demand down and supply to the sky. On the Y to the sky axis, you have the price, and the x-axis, you have the quantity. It's not this just this equilibrium point, this nirvana, this peaceful point. What it is, it's subjective. It's a subjective price. Price is subjective. Objectivity might be the essence of intelligence, but subjectivity is definitely the essence of price. And takeaway number two that you really want to know is price is an information point. It coordinates time and preferences. And it does this through time. So 1, price is subjective. 2, price is an intertemporal information point. So next time you go to the store, next time you look around, you pump some gas, next time you buy something, you want to sell something on eBay, you want to go to the thrift shop and you're thrifting. Thrifting is pretty cool. Then think about every single price you see. This is an intertemporal subjective information point. And you spew that out, then you're taking college plus economics and you're thinking like an economist. Thank you very much.